Hey everybody, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm your host Caleb,
Hi, I'm Seth. I talk stars with this man.
and we're here to talk about what did I say we're talking about today? We're talking about Hyperspace Stories, Volume
Yes.
1, Rebels and Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh so, tell us a little bit about, what you like about this comic cuz so basically this is a replacement to the Star Wars Adventures line that IDW did.
Mm.
Give a little history to it. We're gonna just jump right in this week because there's nothing really to talk about, so I'm kind of just jumping right in. Um, so his Star Wars Adventures was like IDW's line of anthology comics, where it would just be different stories within the Star Wars universe that are canon. Um, IDW, of course, lost the license as we talked about a few almost half a year ago now at this
Yeah.
point, and then Dark Horse were the ones that took up the license. They kept some of the stuff, like they're keeping like the horror comic every few months, but this is the first anthology straight up like ongoing that they did, which replaces Star Wars Adventures. So this is Hyperspace Stories. Uh, these four issues cover they cover a wide brand
Yeah.
of Star Wars. Like they go from the Clone Wars all the way to the sequels films with the
Mm-hmm.
Resistance. Um, First one is a focus on Anakin and Padme having to save a Wookiee
Yeah.
because there's a Wookiee diplomat that wants to work with the Republic, but his daughter needs to be saved in order
Yes.
for that to happen. He also hid something valuable in her child, like in her toy,
Mm-hmm.
um, which would be of use. I'm not going to cover all of them. Actually,
Yeah.
we'll start with that. We'll start with that. But is there a particular story you liked overall?
I I like the third one because it's very much like
Oh, that's the Poe and Finn
yes,
issue. That's
because
yeah,
it's like such a man, we're not getting anywhere with this. We're gonna go to plan B and plan B going immediately wrong.
I like it because it gives us some more screen time with Finn and Poe, who like in A Force Awakens you get this immediate bond of friendship between them, but then like the rest of the sequel films you don't really get to see them interact ever, really like as much.
Mm.
Like they interact in 9 and a little in 8. Like in 8, he's like, "Here's your mission," but it's not like a friendship thing anymore. It's more of a, "I'm your boss now" thing. Here you kind of get that same vibe of "I'm your boss now," but less
Yeah.
heavy-handed because like Poe has just learned a heavy lesson because that I think that issue takes place after 8. So
Mm.
after all the worst things that could happen to the Resistance have happened, and Poe is partially at fault because of his poor leadership in that particular film.
Mm.
Um, Mainly because he couldn't take orders either. Like he would try to take. Well, that can be discussed later, but yeah,
Okay.
I do like the Finn and Poe dynamic though in this comic and seeing them kind of thrive as friends more than just co-workers. To put it best, like to put it bluntly, like they're co-workers, but they're also friends.
The funny part of it to me is that Finn hits a guy with a teddy bear.
Yeah. The Luke and Leia one, so the second one is weird to me. Not
Which
because
part of it is weird to
it's
you?
the art
The
specifically.
art. Yeah, the art is a bit weird in that one. I'll give you that.
Luke looks like what I would imagine Han would look like
Mm.
because he's got brown hair in it. Like it's a darker blonde than it
Yeah.
normally is, like to where it's almost brown. And I'm just like, when you're, because I just kind of flip through to remind myself of like the main points. Because once again, that's what I do on some of these comics when it's like I've read these before. I'll just get the major points. It's looking at the art again. I was reminded, oh, that's a weird take of like the Leia looks fine, and when they go to that one world and they help that
Yeah.
shopkeeper out a bit, that looks fine. It's just specifically Luke looks weird.
They do not help that shopkeeper out.
They tried. Well, I mean, like they.
No, like that entire thing is the shopkeeper being like, I don't want to be any of you motherfuckers here.
Yeah, I mean the shopkeeper
He
does.
still helps them.
Yeah, he does the right thing.
But that's more out of spite than anything else.
Yeah, it's more of like fuck the empire and not.
Not I believe in your cause. It's more like these fucking assholes always come and fuck my business up.
Yeah.
And you guys aren't helping by being here because now it's going to be worse.
I do think by the end of that issue, though, he does consider that the rebels aren't all bad.
No, he just sends them to his cousin who's
Yeah.
like, sure.
But I think in that act, it shows that.
I don't see it that way.
This is one of those we don't see the same.
Yeah,
But
like,
hey, interpretations are important.
Although they do agree to like hire his cousin on as a spy.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious about the ramifications of that.
Yeah, I'm like, this is either good or bad for y'all in the long term. I'm not sure which. But also, the commander in that one is stupid. Why did you show the big fucking map of your secret plans in like the least secure area you possibly could?
Yeah. For me, my favorite though is the last one of this volume,
Oh, yeah?
issue 4.
Yeah, that one very much has like a
The thing is, though,
almost like
it
a
only,
Grinch that stole Christmas vibe
to be fair, though, issue 4 only works
because of
because of issue 1, because of the setup in issue 1.
Yeah.
Without issue 1, issue 4 does not work. Because of the reveal. Because they reveal that, it's the same kid from issue 1 that saves Rey. Because issue 4 is a straight up Life Day issue. It's which is the winter holiday in Star Wars. More aligned with Hanukkah than Christmas, because it takes place closer to then than Christmas. Just cause, it's a November-ish, like late November, which is when Hanukkah starts.
It's like it's the Star Wars winter holiday.
Yeah, it's their winter solstice.
Yeah.
There we go. That'll cover all the holidays, right? But it is closer to Hanukkah because of like when it takes place and all that. But so Rey goes there. I think this is after. This is
it's got to be after.
It's after all the films. I'm pretty sure. So after all the films have happened, Rey goes to Kashyyyk to help to observe Life Day with him. Because like it's just like because I think Chewbacca's like I need to go home because that's always the vibe.
Trying to get home.
That's always the vibe of
30 fucking years.
Every Life Day event is always like, how do we get
Chewie
Chewbacca
really
home?
Wants to go home.
Yeah. Chewie is always it's the I'll be home for Christmas vibe, where it's like Chewbacca is always just like, I gotta be there, and everybody's like, okay, we gotta get you there, and then it's like, okay, how are we gonna get there? This is actually one of the few times where it's like the journey is not how Chewie gets there; it's how they just survive it. And so like they get attacked during it, and Rey almost dies because Rey. But thankfully, the Wookiee, who was a child during the Clone Wars, the one that Anakin and Padme manages to save Rey in return. And they have this. I think Rey has her toy. Yeah.
Rey has her toy, because the toy is in every
every
comic.
issue.
Yeah, it's in all of them.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the overarching narrative is with that stuffed animal, but it's really like Rey, really Rey is the payoff. Like that 4th issue is the payoff of that storyline, because like issues 2 and 3 have nothing really to do with it. Like 2, we see the toy. No, it's not the same toy though. It's a similar one. because we know that
I chalked it up to the art styles being different between them.
I think though it's so well. Also, there's the Bowen thing, and also I don't think it just ends up in a random
Yeah.
toy shop between issues 1 and 2.
Well, of course not. Space Magic did it.
Because issue 1 ends with her having her toy.
Yeah.
So I don't think it goes, oh, I don't have my toy. Well, I mean, she's got to lose it at some point, I guess, because Ray has it. But yeah, so Ray notices that, oh, this is yours.
Yeah.
Like as they're at the tree, at the great tree. That's if you remember our Bad Batch episodes, we talked about that tree because that's the tree that they were like the great Rorschach tree, that Rorschach tree. They Oh, and we see Chewie's son as an adult.
Yeah.
That made me happy. Because we've seen Lumpy as a kid in canon. You haven't, but we've seen Lumpy as a kid in canon in one of the Chewbacca comics. Which Lumpy comes from the holiday special, the TV holiday special. Because we meet Chewbacca's family in the TV holiday special. And so, because it's Chewbacca, Malaru, I forget Chewie's dad, and then Lumpy. Lumpararu. But yeah, and Lumpy's got like the ponytail thing going, almost a man bun.
Hey man, you do you.
Yeah. Lumpy's a hippie.
I can't comment on
that. But yeah, some bounty hunter interrupts the affair.
Yeah, and I'm like, really?
And commits the worst crime of Life Day.
Fucking asshole.
They shoot.
You go immediately for the.
Well, to be fair, they were aiming at Ray. Ray jumped out of the way.
Take the bullet for the child, Ray.
No, well, for the tree.
Them too.
It's the tree that's the biggest crime.
Yeah.
Which is actually why the Wookiees come up, like, they're like, oh, we got to deal with her. Because, like, they wouldn't have gotten involved if it wasn't for the tree. Which, also, that causes the tree to catch fire.
Yeah, you jerk.
Once again, the biggest sin that could have been committed on Life Day. But they go to track the bounty hunter. Lumpy gets them captured. Because Lumpy is, held prisoner, and they're like, all right, I got this Wookiee, so you're gonna get in the handcuffs.
This is very, like, I don't get the sense that, like, she's very much just there on a job. She's like, I don't really fucking care. I'm just here for you.
Yeah.
I don't care much about the rest of them.
But Vivine, the name of the Wookiee child, the girl.
Okay. That is not how I read that name.
Vivine or Vivine, yeah.
I thought it was Vivian. I was like, that's a really weird way to spell that name, but
yeah,
sure.
Vivine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no extra I for the Vian, so it's Vivine. She ends up trying to save everybody, and this causes her to fly off. But thankfully, Ray uses the Force to save both of them. Along with a helping hand from Chewie and Lumpy, because they needed that little extra distance. Everybody makes it back in time for the Life Day orbs to be carried, and for celebration to continue. The fire has been put out, thankfully. And even the bounty hunter gets to enjoy Life Day. And they kind of do a Grinch Stole Christmas thing at the end with the roast beast.
Yeah. She's like, well, like, I don't
have a knife, so I'm gonna blast it. Which Lumpy gets a little bit of on his face, and Chewbacca laughs. But then this is where we get the payoff for everything. We get the sweet moment where we see Vivine reflecting on, because the whole part of Life Day is reflecting on the previous Wookiees and family in your life, and Vivine is looking at her father, and that's when Ray realizes, oh, this was yours, because the
Yeah.
Force is telling me that this belongs to you, and
There you go.
we get full circle. And Chewbacca has a proud moment of watching Ray do that, and so I really like that. I really
Yeah.
liked it. Um, like I said, I think issue 4 is the big payoff, and like it only works with issue
I agree with that.
1.
I don't think it only works with issue 1. I'm like, you
It's
got.
still a sweet tender moment either way, but I think issue 1 primes it. Like it makes it more powerful, I guess. Issue 2 and 3, you could kind of like, in terms of the narrative for telling that story, you don't need. They're
No.
good issues, but you don't need them to get that story across. Whereas issue 1, I think you need, because you have to prime up Vivine
Yeah.
as a character. But issues 2 and 3 really just are fun little adventures that happen to have the doll as a cameo.
Yeah.
Um, I do like though that they're just fun little adventures though. That's really what this is. Um,
Like,
I like seeing the Anakin and Obi-Wan just after Brotherhood, because this is after Brotherhood, because they're no longer a master and apprentice. And I think this is one of Anakin's first like missions post Brotherhood. The way they kind of
yeah.
are talking to each other, because like they still have that master apprentice like mentality in how they interact, but they're not master and apprentice anymore. And I think Obi-Wan's trying to shift Anakin into being his own person, because like, yeah, because Obi-Wan only volunteers Anakin to kind of give him, because they're still like mentor
Yeah.
relationship at this point, but they're not like exactly the same. Man, and Obi-Wan's locks are definitely that post Brotherhood. Like they're getting there. You're not quite Qui-Gon, but you're like halfway
Getting
there. Um,
I really liked it. It was good.
yeah. And then this, as far as the second issue, I do like seeing Luke and Leia kind of do stuff on their own
Yeah.
outside of like the rest of the. Yeah, sorry, that art still throws me off. Like we get this one where I can tell that's Luke, and then the next one on the inside cover, that's Han. That looks like Han.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not Han.
Yeah. No.
But it's not. It's Luke. You can kind of see more of the babyface Luke again in the rest of the issue, but it's the hair color, man. It still throws me off.
Threw you off pretty bad.
Like that is not like, because Luke I get it. He's a dirty blonde. He's not like blonde. He's got like that dirty,
Yeah.
like kind of blonde going where there's still a little bit of
It
brown in
doesn't
it.
help that they've like changed up how Luke is dressed.
Yeah, he's dressed almost like how, like, once again, it's a Han. That looks like a Han Solo outfit.
Yeah.
But that makes sense because they're supposed to be like undercover. They're not supposed to be like. It's very much. I don't want to be recognized as this rebel hero. So I get the costume changes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be fair. The Leia hairdo is not a Leia hairdo. Like it's not a hairdo we've ever seen Leia with. It's more of a That's a Padme style, almost. But like it works for Leia.
Yeah.
It's a good look. It just like it's not one of the usual ways that she does her hair in anything we've seen. It looks more like something akin to what Padme would do, like in a Queen Amidala type out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I really like this overall, though. I mean, I know that we're running short today because there's just not a lot to talk about it. I
Yeah.
mean, is there any major or minor things that you want to talk about regarding it? I mean,
Regarding the comic, no.
um,
It's just a fun little adventure.
Yeah, it's just they're all fun adventures. That's really what these are, and I kind of like though for the Finn and Poe one, it's also like a western.
Yeah, they just are.
It's very much that western vibes, and they even go on a train, and
Yep.
they get to do pretty much a train heist.
Basically, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, I forgot that like for most of the train heist, Finn is just throwing things.
yeah, I do like this one
Yeah.
like page. Let me. This is actually one I'll highlight for our audience because that's a good one. Um, this page is really nice. I like when comic books do these type of things where they
Yeah.
so you get this cool like action sequence where we go from this part of the train and that's what happens in
Oh
this part.
boy, that's what it reminds me of.
What?
The train thing right there.
What is it?
It reminds me of like the hallway scene from Old Boy.
Oh, Old Boy, yeah.
If you've never seen that scene, I encourage you to go out and watch it. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then we go back to like this and then he
Yeah.
finds the toy and that's the same exact toy. That one is the same exact toy. But the one in the issue 2 is not.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Because
Ray has to get it somehow.
Because you see the bow, and I think that's the identifier. Because in the first one, in the first one you see the bow. Second one there is no bow, and then third one has the bow, and then of course the last one has the bow. But we're told that all that cargo is stuff that the Empire has that our First Order has like taken.
Yep.
As well as like because that train is just First Order stuff essentially, with a few passengers, but it's mostly like a First Order train. So my theory of how it got from point A to point B is that either the Empire took it or the First Order took it, and then it kind of just got passed down until Finn reacquired it. Really, that's it that I want to talk about this comic. I mean, it's a good comic. I suggest as a fun little read if you're looking for something light, you know.
Yeah, this one is not as serious.
No, it's very light. It's not a lot of pages either. It's only 96 pages, so a little less than 100. That's not bad for a comic. It's only 4 issues though, so it's not your usual 6-issue volume. Because I think that's the other thing is usually in a volume for comics, it's about 6 to 7 issues when you get a trade paperback. But this one is like 4. But it's a quick read. There's other issues out already. Volume 2 is on its way, but it's not out. Like they haven't finished the run for the comics that are going to be in Volume 2. But it's a fun little read. If you like Star Wars and you like these characters, you just get more of that. And since these are side adventures, there's nothing high stakes.
Yeah.
Like there's like stakes, but they're not like they're not into the galaxy stakes. Cuz like there's stakes. That's the other thing. Like just because it's a side thing doesn't mean there's no stakes cuz I think issue 1 the stakes are the Wookiees potentially being forced to work with the Separatists when they don't want to. Second one, the stakes are just getting caught by the Empire while they're trying to find out what the Empire's up to. Like just Luke, it's very simple stakes. These are low stakes, but they're stakes. So like Luke and Leia just getting busted. That's the stakes. 3, Finn and Poe not getting what they need to back to the Resistance.
Yep.
Because they have information they have to get back to the Resistance.
That's not why they're there.
I thought they got information, though, too.
They're there to get food.
Oh, yeah, food. Food. That's right. Because once again, this is post Last Jedi. They need food.
Yeah.
Because they barely have gas. They need food.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. Because they were meeting with different people to...
Yeah, and they were like... They tried, man. They tried everything they could try, and it just did not work.
Yeah, because everybody was just like, either they didn't want to help at all, or they couldn't.
Yeah.
They did find a solution, though. Um, I think remind me because once again this is
The
some.
plan was initially like, okay, well, we're getting outbid on everything, so let's go to the suppliers for like
That's
all
right.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they go to the suppliers, and that doesn't work out because either they're they do some like disgusting things, or they cheat in order to, or
Yeah.
the suppliers cheat in order to get the result of their games.
Hmm.
So they're like, okay, plan B. Sorry, we're on plan C now.
Yeah.
We're gonna go and get ship parts, and we're gonna trade these ship parts to people who are not scummy for food,
Yep. And
which
yeah,
is how
and
the
and
trading
and
problem
the train
starts.
heist. Yeah, the train heist is them getting the ship parts. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, they need food,
Yeah,
which is higher stakes. I would argue
yes.
that's a bit higher
It's
stakes.
like they say in the comic, you don't have an army if you can't feed it.
Yeah, and so while it's still low stakes in compared to like the
A lot of
movies.
other things that we've seen them
Yeah,
do.
like it's
It's
low.
not unimportant.
No, it's still very important. And then the last one, the stakes are just Life Day and Ray getting captured.
Yeah.
Like we don't want Life Day ruined, and we don't want Ray captured. Those are the stakes. Once again, simple stakes, but stakes. And that's all you can ask from for a story. Is stakes of some kind. They don't always have to be end of the world, types of scenarios. Overall, I'd give this a strong 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm alright with that.
Like I said, it's not the best media we've read, but it's a strong story. And it's just light reading. It's stuff that like I just needed some Star Wars, and you got your Star Wars for the. Um, I guess today's just gonna be a 30-minute one. We're gonna. I mean, that's what we did last week too. We
Yeah.
we were like right on it. At least we're feeling better this week than we were
Yes,
last week.
Last
Though.
week was a lot because some things needed to be sorted out.
Yeah, and also like we were just exhausted. I think
Yeah.
too. On top of that, so like all of our like stuff went down at once.
Yeah.
Next week, start of August,
Mm-hmm.
which means I guess I gotta announce what we're doing for the month, not just next week. Let's see.
Oh, had this conversation with my brother.
Yeah.
So
While I'm
as
pulling
you
that
know,
up.
I was playing the Outer Worlds a while ago.
Yep. Until bad things happen.
Until bad things happen, and I'm no longer playing it. But one of the missions got me in like that part of me that still has morals. And I was like, why did that bother me so much? Because it shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went. So the setup, right, for like how this mission is resolved is essentially it's go and get this guy kicked out of his factory or like sabotage him in some way. And so going and trying to do that, this may surprise you, but my first inclination is not to be violent about it. And so I go and I'm like, okay, I'll try sneaking in the back. There's no back door. I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's another entrance. What about going in through like the sewers there next to this waterfall so I can get in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it. Don't have the skills for it. All right. What about trying to just talk my way in or lie, you know? That's not an option either. So it's like, all right. I guess the time for violence was at that moment because I had tried every other solution and I could do none of them.
Oops.
So I did my best to like only kill guards and like robots, right? There was one worker that got hit by a companion ability. Not really my fault. I tried. So I go and I look around like the factory because the guy is sealed up in a place where I can't get to.
Yep.
And I go and I read it. It's like, all right, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, unlock the door, yes. And I read the rest of the entries. And I'm like, that's weird. Why did you process human remains? So I go and I get up there, and this guy is crazy. Like, not haha funny. Like, no,
Legitimately.
like legitimately crazy. I go and I look and I'm talking and I'm like, okay. And I go and I talk to him and I'm like, all right, calm down. Look, here's this thing, here's the deal. And then as I'm like leaving, I'm like, having done that, I'm like, he is a cannibal though,
Yeah.
and a murderer.
And a murderer.
So I should probably do something about that.
Yeah.
And I'm in the section of the game where it's like, you can't really call the police because the police aren't going to show up here.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay. Good enough, I guess. Bang. And I was sitting around with my brother the other day and discussing, like, why that bothered me and going through it and explaining it to him.
Sorry, I when you said that I was sitting around with my brother the other day, my brain jumped to Letterkenny. I was sitting around with my brother the other day.
Shut fuck.
You know I'm right. Sounds like it.
Yes, it is normal to sit around and talk.
I know,
with your
but
siblings.
but the way, like, the phrasing. It's the phrasing. But yeah, you were saying, I'm sorry though, my brain jumped there.
And going through him with it, like, one, it shouldn't have bothered me because it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Two, it shouldn't have bothered me because, well, he's a cannibal and a murderer.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, after eliminating all of those reasons, I think it has to do with the fact that I talked him down and then immediately was like, I guess I better deal with this.
All right. So
I did not hold back on that.
Yeah. So I got our schedule for the next
Okay.
month pulled up. So next week we got a book.
Oh, do we?
We got Queen's Peril.
All right.
We possibly have a guest. They are on the schedule, but I haven't gotten confirmation yet, so I'm not going to announce them yet. But we possibly have a guest for next week. And then on the 12th, we will be discussing the High Republic: The Blade.
Finally.
Yep. The 19th, we will be talking Darth Vader Volume 6, Return of the Handmaidens.
All right.
And then for the last issue of August, for the last episode of August, we will be talking about the Hidden Empire crossover event, which, oh boy, that's going to be a big one because that's going to be like our War of the Bounty Hunters, where we're talking about every comic. So Star Wars, Darth Vader, Dr. Aphra, Bounty Hunters. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. And that's it for August.
Ooh.
But yeah, next week, Queen's Peril, possibly with a guest.
Okay.
Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff on whatever, however you're watching us, which could be on Facebook, facebook.com/Caleb.Lockwood. You can follow me there. I've got just my shorts that I put up on there as well. You can also follow me on Instagram or Threads at Caleb.Lockwood. I am also on YouTube, Kick, Twitch, and TikTok, all at Escape Reality Films. And Twitter is at Escape Reality 94. And then you can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. If you are watching on YouTube or Facebook or even Twitch right now, there should be a link for the Patreon. You can also join our Discord community, which is also linked down below on those apps. It's also, I believe, on our Kick as well. And if you follow that link, that will help you become a part of the community and come hang out with us, and you can listen into D&D games like one that we played last night.
Yeah.
Uh, that was I ran that, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of new players. So there were 7 players, not including myself, and 4 of them had no experience with D&D, and then one of them had minimum experience with D&D, and then the other 2 were pretty experienced with D&D. So, a good bunch of new players who, as far as what they told me, they enjoyed night 1, and we're talking about already playing next Sunday is what we're aiming for the next game.
All right.
Because they want to get into more game time. And we decided Sundays might work better. It's just for this one, Friday had to be the day because there was literally no other option at that point. Like, we had been fighting a wall of what day do we want to start, and literally we had to go a whole month after character creation with no game because we were like, 4th of July came up. People were on
holidays can it does it to you, man.
4th of July basically ruined any chance of playing because that happened, and then one of our players went back to campus to be with some friends, and so they were on vacation, and basically a lot of vacations were happening. That July was the vacation month, and so we finally got to play yesterday, and now we might have we'll try to make it a usual schedule, but I also told them I'm fine if we have like a month apart between sessions because I understand life, but it seems like we're going to try to shoot for at least every 2 weeks is what the goal is every 2 weeks we'll try to shoot for a game. But yeah, so if you join the Discord community, you can listen in on our games while we're playing them when I do special one-shots like that, which is now a campaign. It's not a one-shot. But that's how one-shots always go.
Yep.
I think we got all of our stuff. Shout out to our current patron member, Jennifer Brantley. Thank you for always supporting us.
Thanks.
And then that's all of our stuff. But also, we would like to thank the Cult Movie Mobcast Network, Cult Movie Cantina, for giving us this space. Mobcast Network is another podcasting group. They do like movie stuff. They have Cult Movie Cantina where they talk about old cult movies and add alcohol to them, and we show them to somebody who hasn't seen them. Let's see. This past week we had our cult meeting where we just kind of caught up with each other and talked about stuff. But this week we should have our movie episode, which is going to be on, I'm trying to remember what it was on. My brain just forgot. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to tell y'all. Go watch the cult meeting where at the end of the episode they'll tell you. And you can find that on any fine podcasting app at Mobcast Network or on youtube.com/Mobcast Network. Cult Movie Cantina. You can also find it on facebook.com/Cult Movie Cantina. And you'll see my pretty face again because I help produce and I'm also a guest. I'm also a co-host. So, yeah. Also, shout out to Gamers and Geeks, our local gaming shop here in Mobile, Alabama. You can find them on House Ferry and Moffett at the little corner next to the Piggly Wiggly and that little shopping center. Inside that same little establishment, we also have Engage Gaming, which is a sort of rent system sort of thing where you can walk in, pay an hourly fee, and you get to play on their gaming consoles that they have within the shop. They're already set up to TVs and everything, so you don't have to do any of that work. You can play on a PS5, Xbox Series X, PC, VR, all that good stuff. They also can provide the games if you need to. You can also pay a monthly membership to get that hourly rate reduced. And so if you don't have like a newer console and there's a game you really want to try, that's a good way to get to have a chance to try it. They also sell some games, including vintage games. So they got like Nintendo stuff, like classic Nintendo stuff, as well as some newer stuff. They do have stuff going all the way up to the current gen. So all that good stuff is there. You know, there's somebody whose birthday we should shout out. There's a buddy of ours who has a birthday today.
Oh.
And he's a friend of the channel. And in fact, has been a consistent player of the channel for a while. It's been a minute since we've had him though. Jeffa's birthday.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jeff. You might not be in chat right now, but I do want to shout him out. For those of y'all who know the channel, he is best known on our channel as the player of B9 for our Star Wars game, for our Knights of the Old Republic game. He was also Asen in the Knights of the Republic game. And he also for the Old Republic game because Asen was he didn't switch characters. Well, he also took a break during the Old Republic game, but when he came back, he got to play as Asen in B9 again. But that's how y'all probably best know him here on the channel. So he's a good friend. It's his birthday today.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Shout out to him. I hope he's having a great day. And I'll probably reach out to you if you're watching. I'll text you after the show and see what you're up to. Am I missing anything on our end? I think I got it all. I actually got it all. So take it away with your thing.
So, this doesn't always happen because of work and scheduling, but this weekend you can catch me over at Steam_Dungeon, playing Simon the Orc Barbarian, continuing to handle problems in the city, because that's what I do. From 5 to 7 Central Standard Time on Sundays, over at Steve_Dungeon. I don't know what's going on because I've been working these last couple of weeks. So they're going to have to fill me in on a lot of things. All I know is that a lot of things happened while I was away. But I think that's it, yeah.
All right, well, thank you all once again for watching, and we will see you all next week with Queen's Hope.
Yep.
Or Queen's Peril, possibly with a guest. We're going to try to get through the Queen's Trilogy at some point, but we're not going to do back-to-back. But we're doing Queen's Peril next week, and I will see you all next week. I've spoken.
Later,